This is Greg with Realty Resource Radio. I'm a number cruncher who's been analyzing the stats around Central Ohio real estate for the past 20 or so years, making predictions of what's going to happen down the road and looking at what's happened in the past. I have with me Lori, host of the show as well. She's been here in the Central Ohio area working in real estate on the front lines, dealing with the people who buy and sell houses every single day. She has an Italian background and she knows how to negotiate, so look out. Today we're having a few folks on the show today. Today is the Deal Buster Day. These are the folks that if you've got problems, they can bust your deal, whether you have a house to sell or you're looking at buying a house. We're going to be looking at mold. Is that going to break your deal? We're going to be talking about furnaces and air conditioning. Is it a waste of money to get a checkup? And we're also going to be looking at radon. Look out, it's the stuff you can't see, but it'll break your deal.
For sure. So Greg, what have you been seeing, lately in the past week in the market?
Well, there's a couple things I'd like to address, and I don't care which one we talk about first. We've got the Westerville housing market is hot. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. So I'm a numbers guy. Jumped into it to figure out if I was like missing something. Then there's the Wives of Sheffield Park. So I didn't know if the Wives of Sheffield Park would be a topic of interest to start
tell us
off
about
with.
the Wives of Sheffield Park.
You want to know about the Wives of Sheffield Park? Okay,
that sounds interesting.
So what happened is last week I stopped off as I was heading home over at Easton for an Arrogant Bastard, and that's a
what is that exactly, honey?
That's a Stone Brewing Company beer. If you recall, last week I wanted people to buy the Stone beer to let them know we want them here, our brewery here. So I'm at this pub at Easton. They didn't have any Stone. I was so depressed. So I ended up with a Skull Splitter, but that's more like an innocent gun rum cask. But
that explains your mood when you got home.
I was in a decent mood, but let me tell you about that getting home, because there's nothing like driving home and seeing this big truck in front of your house, and I'm thinking to myself,
like a semi.
I'm thinking to myself, why would the neighbors park their semi-truck in front of my house? Are they moving or what? And as I got closer, I realized that semi-truck was not there in front of my house for the neighbors. That semi-truck was there in front of my house because they were unloading furniture at my house.
You gonna go out for a beer again soon? I do need some new family room furniture.
I'm motivated to not do that anymore. But so I pulled up and I asked Lori what was going on, and she maybe you can tell it better how you track those guys down.
Well, actually, they knocked on our door and obeyed our no soliciting sign very well.
What's that sign say?
It says no soliciting, please, unless you're selling Girl Scout cookies or work for with the Olden Tangi marching band. Then please ring the doorbell. But as I was sitting there, I realized I saw the big truck go by, and I thought, oh my gosh, wait a minute, that's the furniture guys, I need a new chair.
They're around every year.
By the way, I apologize for my voice. I've had laryngitis for the last couple of days. Not good for radio. And so I ran out and flagged them down, and sure enough, after I flagged them down, lo and behold, I was able to buy a whole dining room suite and a chair for the cost of probably what would have just been for a dining room table. So they were really nice guys. They put it all together, brought it all in, avoided shipping and everything, so I would definitely buy from them again.
Well, and I asked them.
And I know they listen to us.
I asked them what was going on, and they told me I should get a hold of the Wives of Sheffield Park. And I said, I didn't even know there was an organization like that. And actually what happened is he told me, well, I don't know about an organization, but I was over there for about 2 weeks unloading furniture. So I just thought that
and
was,
I think they said they still had to go back and put more together, if I remember right.
That's awesome. So if you see a truck driving by, maybe you've seen them. The furniture truck drives by once a year.
So what?
Careful if you're a guy out there and you've left your wives at home when the furniture truck goes by.
So what's going on with Westerville? Why is it so hot? I mean, I work in Westerville and I know it's a decent place, but I didn't realize it was hot.
It is Westerville hot. I mean, I was like, whoa, really? It's hot? What does that mean? What does it mean to be hot? Well, when I think of hot,
that means like me.
It does, but it also means like
just kidding.
There's a store I drive by once in a while that has the neon sign that flashes hot. Maybe you're familiar with that store.
Yeah.
The Krispy Kreme store sometimes has their hot sign on, and what that means is that they've got some donuts coming out right then. And if you stop in right then, you get a hot donut. But what happens if you don't stop in right then? Well, if you don't stop in right then, you don't get a hot donut. So maybe a couple hours later, there's those donuts, but they're not hot anymore. Now they're cold. And so you can associate time going by and speed with being hot. So like for instance, last week we talked about the stats in Central Ohio being great this year because it was taking 3.5 months on average to sell a house last year to get it in contract, and now this year it was only taking 2.5. So it's a lot faster. That makes it hotter. That makes it better. Faster is hotter is the idea there. So how hot is Westerville? That's what I wanted to get at. So I jumped into the numbers to see what was going on, and the way numbers, sometimes people say you can make them say whatever you want. Well, I was looking at Westerville mailing addresses is what I used for my area. If you had a Westerville mailing address and you sold it in the month of September, went into contract in the month of September, I was looking at your stats, and the average time to sell a house was 60 days. So it was taking 60 days on average to get that house into contract. Now, I said, well, is that hot? Well, 60 days isn't bad because it was taking, over this year so far, on average, 2.5 months, which is 75 days. So 60 is not bad. You're beating the average there.
Sure.
But how hot is that to say that's hot? So I said, well, what's a comparable neighborhood to Westerville? Worthington comes to mind. Worthington's very comparable. So I grabbed the mailing addresses for Worthington to see how long that stuff was taken to sell, those houses there. And on average, in Worthington, it was taking 50 days. So we have 60 days on average in Westerville, 10 days faster in Worthington. So I guess you could say
a little hotter.
Worthington's a little hotter than that. Now we've got friends out in Pickerington, so I wanted to look at Pickerington too because it's another very comparable area as far as the housing, values and prices and all that goes. So I looked at Pickerington as well, and their average days to get a house in contract was 53. So Westerville was 60, Pickerington was 53. Pickerington's even hotter.
Than Westerville.
Than Westerville, right.
Do you know what the hottest market was, or did you get a chance to look at that?
Yeah, I did not look to see what the hottest is.
Okay.
I did not.
Well, that's something for next week's show.
You're challenging me.
Yep.
You're challenging me. Okay, I'm up for it. What kind of stuff are you seeing in the market these days?
Well, I went on a listing appointment this week, and when I was talking to the client, she was asking me, why is it that when I go to some of these sites like Zillow or Trulia and some of those, it's so frustrating because the information isn't necessarily correct. Maybe some of these houses have sold 6 months ago. Some of them sold, within the last week. And she was kind of inquiring our price changes. Some are in contract, which is really frustrating for people. She was asking me all about that, so I started explaining to her that us as a realtor, we're straight commission and we have to make money. And one of the ways that we make money is by buying zip codes. And what that means is that Zillow and Trulia, in fact, I have myself personally, I have a zip code that I've purchased a few of them. And when a person goes on to one of those websites, they'll see me along with maybe 2 other agents' pictures on the side. The more money that you spend on them, the more that you get rotated and you look like you're actually the agent of these properties, when in actuality, I'm not the agent of these properties. And what happens is someone will call me and say, hey, I'm inquiring about this property, or they'll email me, and I tell them, oh gosh, I'm sorry, that's in contract or that's been sold, but hey, do you need help with real estate? Sometimes it is available. Equally so is that these other realtors are also getting my listings to use as bait. And it's kind of frustrating because we're actually paying for our own listings out there. There's some companies that have gotten so upset. I mean, it's become a big issue that some brokerages are actually pulling their listings from these third party, so to speak, syndications. You understand a little more about this in your computer background than me, but it comes down to, is the local MLS and the local brokers going to allow our listings to be on some of these company websites? So unless everybody stops it, and some are pulling it, it's going to continue to be probably an issue. But one way that people can kind of get around this is to, or not get around this, but know that they're getting accurate information up to date to the second, is by contacting a realtor who can do a search from the MLS, directly from the MLS. They'll get up to the minute information, as well as our website, sellingcolumbus.com. I know ours is definitely syndicated right from the MLS, so you could go to sellingcolumbus.com and get up to the date information. So that's one way that people can be sure of that. Another way they're talking about is putting these badges. They're called a source badge that they're talking about coming out with so that consumers can know which websites are actually legitimate and up to the minute.
Sure, they'll have like a little stamp there or some insignia that says, "Hey, we've got
Right,
MLS data."
a badge, literally a badge on these websites now. It's not, but that's a nonprofit organization that's doing that right now. So anyway, these are very interesting things to think about, and for consumers to understand what they're really getting when they go to some of these sites.
I love it. Thanks for looking into that. You know, we also have a restaurant of the month that we're doing. We go out, we eat at a lot of restaurants, and maybe you can tell from videos or something, but I have been gaining a little bit of weight. They're great, great places. One of the places we have, Caribbean Jerks Island Bar and Grill. And they're all about quality and great service. And they're located over 1262 East Powell Road in Lewis Center. Caribbean Jerks Island Bar and Grill. It's just down the road from Polaris Mall. My wife had the lobster and loved it. I had the ribs and thought they were great. Now I will have a difficult time ordering anything else when I'm there. So,
Who are we having on next, babe?
who's coming on next? We're having on the man behind all the mold.
Oh, I'm an old person.
So, okay, y'all good?
I don't know. Did you like that?
I did, but
You can change it up if you want.
who are we having on next? You should probably change that.
Bert, let's change it.
All right,
Let's change that a little bit.
let's get back here. I'll let you guys
I don't
listen.
even have to say, do you want me to say who are we having on next?
No.
Okay, so end with the Caribbean Bar and Grill, right?
We also have a restaurant of the month that we're doing. We go out and eat at a lot of restaurants. Let's back that. Let's start over right before the restaurant thing.
Restaurant,
I'll run through
okay.
the restaurant thing again.
Anyway, these are very interesting things to think about and for consumers to understand what they're really getting when they go to some of these sites.
Stop
Okay,
right
so
there.
right there, you got
Yeah.
about 30 seconds right from that.
Great.
45 seconds, really. So
Okay, we'll do it.
already ready?
Ready.
And 3, 2, 1.
We are all about quality and great service on our show. It is no different when it comes to our restaurant of the month. Located at 1262 East Powell Road in Lewis Center, Caribbean Jerks Island Bar and Grill is just down the road from Polaris Mall. My wife had the lobster and loved it. I had the ribs and thought they were great. Now I will have a difficult time ordering anything else, really. Caribbean Jerks Island Bar and Grill is great food, and you really do feel like you're in the Caribbean when you're there. Something we all need as this cold weather creeps in.
Yeah.
Come to our website, realtyresourceradio.com, and enter to win a $50 gift certificate to that location. With $20 lobster night on Thursdays and an $18 all-you-can-eat rib night on Sundays, you can win a great dinner for two on us. Now we've also got coming up information on mold disaster. So you want to be here for that. We're going to talk about, is mold a disaster in your house?